You open your phone, expecting convenience. But every DoorDash order helps drive down wages to just $2 or $3 per delivery, unless drivers accept even less. What looks like an easy button masks a system that quietly pulled over $500 million in tips from workers, prompting a $16.75 million settlement in New York. Behind each delivery is a hidden algorithm that rewards desperation and punishes resistance. If you think it's harmless, the real story, how DoorDash actually runs and who really pays, might change the way you order food forever. This is how it really works. Miguel starts his shift before sunrise, hoping for enough deliveries to cover rent and groceries. The app pings, offering $2.75 for a 10-minute drive, plus wait time at the restaurant. That is the base pay, often just $2 or $3 per order. As Miguel accepts, the system records his choice. Drivers who turn down low-paying offers risk seeing even fewer decent ones. Human Rights Watch surveyed Texas DoorDash workers. 2/3 said they fear being deactivated if they reject too many jobs. The algorithm tracks every move, but does not explain its logic. Some drivers call it desperation scoring. The more urgent your need, the less you can afford to say no. Miguel's phone vibrates again. Another offer, same low pay. He cannot afford to wait for something better. After gas and car maintenance, he will clear less than minimum wage. Academic studies confirm the pattern. Those who rely on the app most often get paid the least per hour. The longer you work, the less each hour is worth. DoorDash claims its system rewards flexibility and high demand. But for drivers like Miguel, the math feels rigged. There is no way to negotiate or even see how pay is set. The platform can change its formula at any time with no warning. Miguel works longer hours, but his take-home pay keeps shrinking. Some weeks, exhaustion wins, and he skips meals to make ends meet. For Miguel and thousands like him, the algorithm is not neutral. It is a silent manager deciding who gets what and when. The only constant is uncertainty, and as basic pay drops, tips become the only hope for a living wage. A legal document stamped by the New York Attorney General's office tells a story that no marketing slogan can erase. DoorDash, for years, quietly used customer tips to subsidize its own wage guarantees. When a customer added a tip, the company lowered the amount it had to pay out of pocket, pocketing the difference. The practice was so widespread that regulators calculated more than $550 million in lost tips across DoorDash and Uber Eats, with DoorDash at the center of the investigation. The numbers are stark. During the period in question, the average tip for a DoorDash delivery dropped from $3.66 to just 93 cents. This was not a minor change. It was the direct result of app design choices that moved the tipping screen to the end of the process after checkout and made it easier for customers to skip. Regulators called it a massive scheme to drive down worker pay. DoorDash's own internal memos, cited in the filing, showed the company was fully aware that its system diverted tips away from drivers and into its own bottom line. The fallout was swift. In February 2020, DoorDash agreed to pay $16.75 million to settle with the New York Attorney General, covering tens of thousands of affected workers. The company did not admit wrongdoing, but the settlement required restitution for drivers and a public acknowledgement of the practice. For many workers, the damage had already been done. Years of lost income hidden behind the promise of a tip that never truly reached them. Customer trust took a hit as well. People who believed they were rewarding good service learned their generosity had been rerouted. The system turned a simple act of appreciation into a hidden subsidy for DoorDash's wage model. The legal record is clear. What looked like a tip was, for years, anything but. The numbers, the filings, and the settlement all point in one direction. The company's pay design depended on secrecy, not transparency. Jasmine used to be one of DoorDash's top-rated drivers. She knew every shortcut, remembered regulars' preferences, and rarely missed an instruction. But after months of chasing shrinking pay, she logged out for good. Her story is not unique. Across the country, experienced drivers are abandoning the app, some switching to competitors like Instacart or returning to traditional jobs, others leaving gig work altogether. The numbers behind this migration are hard to ignore. A Cornell study found that 42% of New York City delivery workers faced underpayment, fueling a steady stream of departures. Human Rights Watch reports that as pay formulas became more unpredictable, motivation dropped. The best drivers, those who once took pride in speed and service, found themselves working longer hours for less money. Burnout sets in fast when every mile wears down earnings instead of building them up. What fills the gap is an unstable pool of newcomers and those with few alternatives. For customers, the changes are immediate. Orders run late. Special instructions get skipped. Food arrives cold or with missing items. The app's rating system, designed to reward quality, cannot keep up when the real incentive is simply to accept every offer, no matter how low the pay. On forums and social media, the frustration is clear. Stories of forgotten drinks, wrong addresses, and unresponsive drivers pile up. The promise of fast, reliable delivery fades as the core workforce erodes. Behind every disappointing order is a system that rewards compliance over care, and a growing gap between what customers expect and what the platform can actually deliver. Speed is everything on DoorDash. The app pushes drivers to deliver faster, promising better pay for quick completion, but the real cost lands on the street. In cities across the country, drivers report running red lights, weaving through traffic, and even driving on sidewalks just to avoid late penalties. The pressure is constant. Accept, deliver, repeat. If you are too slow, the algorithm remembers. If you are too careful, you risk deactivation. But the risks do not end with traffic violations. DoorDash's verification process is riddled with loopholes. Accounts are easily shared, and vehicles often go unchecked. In Salt Lake City, police responded to a call that stunned the country. In October 2023, a customer ordered a Mountain Dew with their meal. When the drink arrived, something was off. Security footage later confirmed that the driver, Cody Hillman, had urinated in the cup before handing it over. The incident made headlines and triggered a police investigation. DoorDash deactivated the account, but there was no indication of new safeguards or policy changes. Law enforcement officials and consumer advocates warn that these gaps invite more than just headline-grabbing misconduct. With no consistent ID checks or vehicle verification, anyone with app access can show up at your door. Reports of assaults, theft, and property damage tied to delivery drivers have grown, prompting calls from police departments nationwide for stricter oversight and real accountability from gig platforms. For customers, the promise of convenience now carries a hidden risk. The app's focus on speed and volume leaves safety as an afterthought. Behind every fast delivery is a system that values efficiency over protection, leaving drivers and customers exposed. The true cost of that quick tap on your phone is measured not just in dollars, but in trust and personal safety. Jasmine placed an order for dinner, nothing complicated, just a burger and fries. The bag arrived missing the fries. She opened the app and tapped help and explained the problem. The response came in minutes, but it was not an apology or a refund. Instead, Jasmine received a voucher, good for a few dollars off her next order, set to expire in a week. When she asked for her money back, the chat window closed. No follow-up, no escalation, just a digital dead end. Stories like Jasmine's fill the Better Business Bureau and Trustpilot, meals that never show up, cold food, wrong items, and support that seems programmed to say no. Over 100,000 complaints have been logged, many describing the same pattern. Customers report that refunds are almost always issued as short-lived credits, not cash, even when the error is clear. Some vouchers do not even cover the full cost of what was lost. DoorDash's official policy claims to offer full refunds for service failures, but leaked agent training materials tell a different story. Support staff are measured by how quickly they close cases, not by resolution. If a customer pushes back, tickets are often automatically closed with a generic response. The system is designed for speed, not for making things right. Jasmine's missing fries cost her a few dollars. Multiply that by thousands of orders each day, and the numbers add up fast. The promise of easy help is just another part of the pitch. When something goes wrong, the real cost is trust, lost in a maze of automated replies and vanishing credits. A burger that costs $10 at the restaurant often jumps to $12 or $15 when ordered through DoorDash. That is before taxes, service fees, and tips. Menu markups on the app range from 20 to 50%, sometimes more depending on the restaurant and the neighborhood. The difference is not just a few cents. On a $30 meal, you might pay $6 to $10 extra without realizing it. The app advertises no delivery fee or flashes a discount, but the real price is hidden in a maze of small charges. Service fees, platform fees, regulatory fees all stack on top of inflated menu prices. Reddit threads are filled with side-by-side receipt comparisons. One user posted a $14 pizza from a local shop, but on DoorDash it came to $21 after fees and markups. The restaurant still got only a fraction of that total. These hidden costs add up fast. For many orders, more than a third of what you pay never reaches the driver or the restaurant. Instead, it flows to DoorDash's corporate overhead and profit. The sticker shock usually comes too late after checkout when the order is already in motion. By then, the convenience has locked you in. The promise of fast, easy delivery comes with a silent surcharge. For most people, ordering direct is not just cheaper. It means fresher food and more money in the hands of local businesses. Every time an order is placed on DoorDash, a small fraction of the total, sometimes just a few cents, ends up in a very different place than most customers expect. According to Open Secrets, DoorDash spent about $1.8 million last year on lobbying efforts in the United States. That is not a one-off. It is a recurring expense built directly into the cost of doing business. The money flows to law firms and consultants in Washington and state capitals, funding campaigns to influence labor laws, minimum wage standards, and regulations on gig work. Policy experts point to a pattern. As more cities and states consider rules that would guarantee drivers a living wage or basic protections, DoorDash and its competitors ramp up their spending. In California, the company poured money into the fight over Proposition 22, which ultimately kept gig workers classified as independent contractors, exempt from wage and benefit laws. Similar strategies have played out in New York, Illinois, and Massachusetts. The goal is clear: keep labor costs low and control over pay in the hands of the platform, not the people doing the work. This corporate spending is not just about business as usual. It directly shapes the laws that determine how much drivers earn and what rights they have. Every extra fee tacked onto an order, service charges, regulatory fees, even inflated menu prices, helps fund a pipeline of political influence. The result is a system where the convenience of a quick meal comes at the cost of workers' bargaining power. For customers, it means that a portion of every delivery does not improve service or pay drivers. It fuels a fight to keep things exactly as they are. Online forums once filled with delivery hacks and positive reviews now read like warning signs. On Reddit, the advice is blunt: avoid DoorDash if you have any alternative. Threads with thousands of comments compare receipts, share screenshots of missing items, and swap stories about failed refunds. The frustration is not just digital. Local Facebook groups coordinate boycotts, urging neighbors to order direct from restaurants or use smaller delivery services. Hashtags like #DeclineNow trend during organized protests, with drivers and customers alike refusing to play along with the app's rules. Trustpilot tells the rest of the story. Out of tens of thousands of reviews, DoorDash sits at a 1.5 out of 5 rating. Cold food, ignored instructions, and unresponsive support fill the top complaints. Many reviews mention a sense of betrayal. Customers who thought they were helping local businesses or tipping hardworking drivers now realize much of their money vanishes into fees and corporate margins. The promise of convenience has worn thin, replaced by skepticism and anger. Some restaurants have had enough. Nadia, who owns a family-run pizza shop in Queens, watched her profits shrink as DoorDash raised commissions and marked up her menu without warning. Negative reviews about delivery, like late arrivals, missing items, and cold pizza, started hurting her own reputation, even though her kitchen had nothing to do with the problems. Last year, she pulled her business from the platform. The difference was immediate. Fewer complaints, more loyal customers, and a sense of control restored. She now posts on neighborhood boards, encouraging others to call in orders or use local apps. The backlash is no longer isolated to a few angry customers or burned-out drivers. It is a collective response spreading from online threads to city streets and small businesses. As trust erodes, more people are stepping away, not just from DoorDash, but from the idea that convenience should come at any cost. Every time you order, you reinforce a system where drivers often earn less than minimum wage, while over $1.8 million a year goes to lobby against basic protections. As more workers leave and trust erodes, the true cost of convenience grows. The delivery economy is not just changing what we eat, it is shaping who profits and at whose expense. What will you choose to support next time? Share your thoughts below.